My name is Zoe, and my project was executing a donation process for Unity Farm Sanctuary. Um, so, the essential question was, what are the steps to organizing and executing a donation box at Millis High School to collect donations for Unity Farm Sanctuary? So, so the presentation outline. So basically, well, obviously, first I chose my topic, and then I chose it because of my prior connection with Unity Farms. And then next, I did some research, how I can help them, help benefit them. And then I collected the donations, and then what I learned from this whole project, and then reflections. So for my mentor, I decided to choose Mrs. Raposa because she's been there for me throughout high school, and she's just been very supportive, and I see her on a day-to-day basis. So, and she's very approachable. So I knew I could always ask her if I needed help with anything, if there's any issues. So I met her in 10th grade, and we just had a really strong connection. So I thought she'd be the best option to be my mentor. And she was also a really big help in with my flyer itself, because I'm not very good at working technology, programming, whatever. So she helped a lot with creating the QR codes on the flyers. So I really appreciated that. And then obviously she's a staff member in the district. So she had the prior connections in the town. So she got the contact information to get it in the e-flyer, which is the town flyer, I guess. And that's mainly how I promoted the project. So, yeah. So, the vision of the graduate. So basically, just the skills that the staff think that the Millis High School students should be able to exhibit, I guess, upon graduating. So I think my senior project really I was able to perform a lot of these because and utilize them to deliver my project, because I had to find solutions, because we kind of ran into a little issue that the QR codes kept expiring. So kind of had to work through that, and then we had to find solutions when determining how donations would get to the farm. We had a little issue with that, which I can talk about later. But and then just supporting a nonprofit organization like Unity Farm Sanctuary. So yeah. Why this topic? So I chose this topic because I just have a soft spot for animals, and ever since I did the LEAP program at Unity Farms, I just have really been more I just know more about what animals experience, and how they just experience a lot of trauma and neglect, because until they're rescued. And I feel I've always had an animal. I feel at home, I've always had an animal in my house my whole life. So I just like really feel for them because they're just very comforting and non-judgmental. So I feel like it's very like it just made me feel better. Yeah. Like whenever like I was stressed out like, after school or something, like I knew I could always just go to the farm and just like it would be really comforting like to spend time with like the animals because I just feel like it's really helped me a lot through high school. And then I was also just passionate because like I said, like I've been volunteering there for a few years now, like consistently. And I just really wanted to make a difference because like it's just such a great cause. I just wanted to do that. And like I was just really inspired to do it because like the owner, Kathy, is just she's just so sweet and I just love her so much. Yeah. So my end goal to accomplish was basically just like as the slideshow says, like I just wanted to like spread awareness to the community because I feel like the community isn't always like aware of like things that are happening sometimes. So I just wanted to like educate the community about animal welfare and just like have them be aware of like the mistreatment animals can like experience and just like the exploitation or whatever. So I was basically just determined to increase the amount of donations that they normally get. And she actually had told me they hadn't promoted it in a while. So like it was a big help that I was doing this. And then obviously like in the winter, it can be especially challenging because like it's very cold temperatures and access to food can be like scarce. And then obviously they need like heating in the winter, so obviously like the energy costs are gonna go up. And then they have to deal with like water freezing, so they have to like de-ice it, which can be like quite the process. And then also volunteers might not be as inclined to go during the winter because, you know, I don't think anyone would want to be outside when it's like freezing. Yeah, so it can like limit activity that some sanctuaries rely on, like the volunteers to help out. And then it can just cause them to have like poor health conditions, the animals, and obviously they don't want that. So I just want to help out with that, especially in the winter. So the project timeline, that's me putting up the flyers. So I was interested in working with Unity Farms because like I said, I've been doing it, like I've been volunteering for years now. And I have a really good I had a really good prior connection with Kathy, the owner. So like I knew her well, so I knew that this is something I definitely wanted to put my time into. So I reached out to her on email and I told her my idea, and she was actually really excited because they were looking for donations, especially at that time of the year. I just wanted to help them any way I could. So I mainly promoted the project by distributing like flyers around the Millis High School and middle school. So that's basically how I like promoted it. And then I also track the donations by connecting with Kathy on a weekly basis. So originally I was gonna have a donation box set at Millis High School. And then everyone would like bring the donations to the school and then I myself would like drop them off at the farm. But then we kind of ran into like an issue because the office didn't want like the FedEx guy to like come and like they just didn't want like him like coming in, whatever. So I kind of had to reconfigure the whole thing. And so we just had them go, like send them straight there. And Kathy was very appreciative, which made me very happy because she she's always looking for like donations. So yeah. So the official flyer, this was what it looked like, which I hung around the school. It was made on a Google slide, and these are actually some of the images from some of their animals. I just thought it would be cute to put them on the flyer. And then there's the QR code I was talking about right there, which you just scan and it would lead right to the Amazon storefront, where you could just access all that, all the items. And we had to troubleshoot the QR codes because, like I said, they had a bunch of expiration dates that I had to deal with. Yeah. And then research. So I did 4 research topics. I think everyone did, but so the first one was the benefits of working with animals, then the necessary equipment and supplies for farms, and then the essentials to maintaining livestock, and then just like having the community be as familiar with sanctuaries as they are with the zoos. So basically, the first one was I just mainly talked about how animal interaction can really benefit your mental health because it can boost like your levels of like serotonin and dopamine. I read that in an article. And then it's like to decrease depression, stress, build your self-esteem, spending time with animals. So I just talked about like the benefits mentally. The second one was like the different items farms require. So obviously, depending on the farm, it's going to require different like materials, but you're going to need animal housing, and just protection for the livestock from like the temperatures and just like outside things, and you might need livestock trailers, utility vehicles, personal safety equipment, tools for simple work, such as like wagons, like hammers, like all that stuff. And then the third one was more about like maintaining the actual like vicinity, I guess. So like controlling soil regulation, controlling pests, your fertilizer, just maintaining growth, keeping up with the sanitation, and like you want to change just changing like the bedding, like for like cleanliness reasons, just like sustaining like the agriculture. Yeah, and then the fourth was so I feel like zoos are more widely recognized than sanctuaries. And I think this is for a number of reasons because I feel like zoos are more for like the entertainment value, and I feel like they're a lot more developed than sanctuaries are, and like I feel like they have like they're on social media, like they're very well known, and like sanctuaries are still like kind of gaining like recognition because they have like limited advertising, I guess, and like they focus more on animal welfare, not the entertainment value. So I just kind of talked about that. So these are some images of the wildlife there. So as you can see, there's many different animals. There's mammals, birds, a lot of other species. There's like cows, horses, goats, like just a lot. So there's 60 mammals and 225 birds. And they just like they try and make like a really welcoming home for them because yeah. So they just like really want it to be like welcoming. Yeah. So the production page, this was the outcome and production page. So this was some like emails of me and Kathy communicating. And then these were some of the donations that she had gotten. Looking back, I wish I actually put in that like when you send something, like I wish I kind of said something like for Zoe Gallen Senior Project, because I feel like then she would know exactly how many, but like this was just a rough estimate. So as I just was like contacting her a lot, and I would also like occasionally like actually visit because just to check in. So the things that went well, so Kathy was mostly available whenever I wanted to like check in with her. And like as I said, she's very nice and approachable, and she was very excited for this. And then I also really want to continue this because I feel like it's a really great cause, and I feel like it would be like really beneficial for them to continue it. My mentor was very helpful with guiding me throughout the project, and when Kathy would update me, she was like very happy, and that made me really happy because she was like, there was a lot of donations, so she was very like that made me really happy to see her like happy, I guess. And then, like I said, what could have gone better? I feel like if I had put just a little note on the flyer to instruct like the donators like to reference my senior project, I think that would have helped a lot, because then we would have known exactly how many donations were from my flyer. But it's okay. And then sometimes the communication was a little bit inconsistent with Kathy, and I understand she has like a whole farm and like she has all this stuff she has to worry about, but I just wish sometimes we connected a bit more. And then I could have had some stricter like timelines too, because I kind of left the flyers up a little longer than I had planned. And then there were just a few like issues I wish I planned for better, but they were like minor. They weren't anything bad. And then what I learned, so I mainly learned how to prioritize like reports, because like there's a lot of reports for senior project, and just like time management. And then I had to step out of my comfort zone a lot because I'm like a shy person in general, so just like reaching out to her was not the easiest. And then just hitting deadlines, learning about how my strengths and weaknesses, discovering my interests, which like I already knew I was interested in like this type of stuff, but I didn't know to like the extent. So this project really helped me like discover like how much I really like doing this. And then the importance of like engaging with the community. Okay, advice for an upcoming senior. I would just say to pick something you're very passionate in, because you're gonna have to work on it all year, and something you wanna change for the better, that you really, something that just means something to you. And then choose a mentor that you've connected with previously, so you guys have like history, because it's easier, because I know it can be kind of hard if you guys just like you just pick someone and you don't really have history with them. and then make sure you can like rely on them to make sure your project goes well. And then just document everything so you don't miss anything that you would want to include in your like final presentation. Thank you, Slide. I want to thank Mrs. Raposa for being my mentor, Mr. Bigelow for helping me get organized, Unity Farm Sanctuary, Kathy, the owner, and then all the donators that contributed to the project. Thank you so much for listening. If you have questions.